Let's go with the second story, Carmen and the Spy. So, Carmen, beautiful, brown skin, a Latina with a fire for salsa. My mother, one of a kind, a woman like her don't exist anymore, or at least I don't see many these days. Now that she's entering old age, or what she calls the last stretch of life, she decided to finally tell me a little secret one she's been tired of carrying alone. The story happened in 1983. The first shot fired, metaphorically speaking, was in 1982, when Carmen had finally had enough of that bastard Castro. With whatever tools a woman could manage in those days, she found her way onto a boat leaving a town, head for Miami, or dead. Either was better than Matanzas, Cuba. She made it to the beach somehow, carved out a space for herself into the city's underbelly with shaky English and all the hunger in the world. She worked any job she could, whatever paid. In that desperate, dark place, no judgment from me. And for anyone listening, you draw your own conclusions. I don't feel like giving details. Carmen's last job before her life flipped upside down was serving drinks at the Latin nightclub. She only lasted a few weeks there, but long enough to add a cocktail to the man who would change her life forever. Lucky or unlucky for her, he was Cuban too. Pedro Juan had left Cuba in the 1973. His situation wasn't as raw as Carmen's, but maybe just as desperate. They talk, laugh, shared stories about leaving home, about what they missed from Cuba. Their eyes lit up, and that same night they end up naked, drinking on Pedro Juan's couch. Again, like I say, I don't blame Carmen. She was alone in a desert of beaches, awful jobs, and men who look at immigrant Cuban women like a walking fetish. The short-haired Cuban girl, the Cuban waitress. Pedro Juan was a breath of fresh air, a countryman who got her from day one. And day one became months that led straight to marriage. Pedro Juan had made it big in the land of the free. Well, same story, shitty jobs, but his charm and thick accent helped him climb. He made connections all over Florida and eventually started a cozy chain of Latin restaurants. Good house, good car, voice like a telenovela narrator. Carmen fell hard, and based on how she describes him now, I get it. The man could print poetry with his mouth. Time passed. Carmen and Pedro Juan were married and living together. He took on the role of businessman and provider. Told her that she would suffer enough and deserve to enjoy the ocean breeze. She didn't argue. Then, one day, while she was cleaning the house, she heard him talking on the phone in his office with the door shut. But it was in Spanish, and it sure as hell wasn't English. She would recognize it either. When Pedro Juan came out, she hit him with the interrogation, quick and direct. He answered without hesitation, said that back when he served in the Cuban army, they were forced to learn Russian. And now that he was far from home, he and his old friends would call each other just to keep the language alive. Nothing serious, he said. Carmen didn't totally buy it, but she let it go. Pedro Juan started taking more trips, longer ones, said it was business, said he had to close deals, shake hands, charm people. The plan was to have restaurants all over the country. Carmen was getting eaten alive by boredom, the absence, the silence. In one of the rare visits of Pedro Juan made back home, Carmen got pregnant. Pedro Juan was thrilled, took her on a surprise trip to Cancun to celebrate. One morning, he left the hotel to go and get breakfast, and never came back. Carmen returned to Miami alone. No house, no husband. Weeks passed, her belly grew. Luckily, she had friends, not many, but enough to get her through. Then, one day, two sharply dressed men came to her door. They showed her badges, government or federal or something. She didn't fully understand, but they told her that Pedro Juan had been a spy, a Soviet spy. They made a big deal out of the past tense, had been. She will never see him again. They made that very clear, and apparently they've been watching her the whole time too. My mom did what she could, raise her child with all the love a mother could give, with every opportunity she could find. Years went by, and now she tells me the reason why I've never met my father. This story. Jesus Christ. Okay, that was a good one. That was an interesting one. Again, the one story that probably, I mean, not that specific, but the migration, the migration process, the migration thing. So, yeah, again, three subjects to discuss here that I would like to. Let me check. So, the first one is being a mother in exile. And so, yeah, guys, we had a short interruption because the guy that gives the things of publicity decide to call my apartment to get in. Shit, that happens, but let's keep going. So the thing that I was, the first subject about the Cuban story that I was trying to discuss is that the being a mother in exile, being an immigrant. So I was trying to explain, I was trying to talk about, I'm sure, and it's okay, it's not the thing that you have to live, which is good. Some of your people are not gonna understand all the process of being an immigrant, of the immigration. In this case, we can have, it's not the same. For example, a Spanish guy decides to go to United States or to Italy. We're talking about really privileged countries. It's really different. And with the passport they have, for example, they can move freely, with freedom, to wherever they want. But being an immigrant from a shitty country like Cuba, like Venezuela, like I love my country, but it's a shithole, Colombia, and but the economy is violent. And when you have to gather your money, your things, go to other country, many cases, learn a different language. In my case, I immigrated to Poland. I'm living in Poland, and I'm still in the process of learning Polish. So it's a tough path. It's a tough journal. It's something you trying to chase a better life. And in this case, like I did it for myself. It was just me, my suitcase, and find a new life. And it was tough and it was rough. And you find really mean, bad people in that kind of changes, leaving everything behind, your family, your friends, everything that you know. But in the case of a mother being an immigrant, being alone, I know that too because my mother was an immigrant too, and she took care of my little brother and myself by herself, finding the work, finding time to help with homework, finding time to prepare food, to pay high school, the school, whatever. And I think there is a subject like in Spanish, especially in South America, in the South American community, we talk about that. But in this case, about immigration in English language, I have not found enough content about it. And in this case, that I can talk about being an immigrant and being a mother at the same time, I love it because it allows me to talk about this and bring this context and this subject to you who don't understand what is that and how tough it is the be alone as being as alone as you can, being by yourself, being scared, don't understanding languages, slangs, dynamics. And in the case of a woman, it's even worse because she was really sexualized for being Latina, for being Cuban. And it's a lot of shit to it. It's a lot of shit to it. So it's always good to remember. Of course, always there are going to be bad immigrants, bad people that found a way to change country, but also really good people that is trying just to not even get a better life, like with money and stuff, just trying to find peace, to be calm, to be able to go to the bus stop without being scared of someone is gonna stop you and rob you, or in the case of a woman, rape you. So yeah, I like to bring this. I like to talk about the migration. Probably I'm gonna talk more about the migration in the future, but it's a nice opportunity to bring this to the table and talk about this in English language. I don't see it that often, and I get it from my environment. All my friends immigrate. All my friends were either from Venezuela, Colombia, and if you know these countries, is for bad things and maybe a beach or something like that. So yeah, the second subject that I want to bring here is the American dream was just a decorate trap. And we're talking about the 80s. And I think it's not just a critic to America. It's not, I think it's in general, some people talking about immigration romanticize the immigration process. They think it's a switch in just 1 second that you change country and already you have money, job, you're in 1 year having your own house and your own car and whatever. The fact that, for example, in South America, we always, long time ago, not now for sure, we romanticize a lot United States, the American dream, being able to immigrate, learn English, all that stuff, and we're going to be close to the famous people in the movies and getting our houses and cars and good jobs and being stable and going to New York and going to there and then. So it happens to every romanticized country. It happens to France, it happens to Spain, it happens to England, it happens to Canada, with every nice country in our perception as an immigrant that we see as the dream, as the final stop. And it's far from that. And the fact that the country could have a better economy, could have more security, better opportunities for sure, doesn't mean easy. The life is still the same, your skills still the same, and they're gonna, maybe they are not gonna be even enough, no matter how many skills you have. You can be a doctor in Venezuela and go to, I don't know, Spain and have to clean dishes for 6, 7 years, 10 years, which is okay. It's not trying to take down that kind of job, but it's the reality of being a professional too and going out and, okay, I'm new here and I have to do this. So I think the American dream at this point is more a metaphor for us. Maybe for you, for the people, for the Americans, for United States citizens that had this version of the American dream was about this era in the 50s, 60s, the works, you can buy your house, you can do whatever. It's your different version of the American dream. The American dream for us is the romance that we put of changing country and changing to a country we think is the best and is going to be perfect. Life still life, and you're going to find tough people, tough moments. You're going to be poor, you're going to be hungry, you're going to get humble too easy in that kind of strong changes. And I made a mistake that I thought the same before immigrating, having my dream, my European dream, and it was tough. I had tough works. It was a really hard path, especially emotionally, because when you have this dream, you think you are willing to leave everything behind. That is going to be easy, and when you are far from it and you think about that and that you cannot go back, at least not right away, it's tough, guys. It's tough. Okay, I will keep just those two